Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now Krishna reiterates the law of karma. When he says, I am that Kala, I am that all devouring time. When he says, it is not that God is planning to destroy you or create you. He has no role to play. He is neither interested in creating you nor he is interested in destroying you. The relationship between God and the Jiva is exactly like you have the desire to build a house and the architect uses his skill to build that house. So architect's intelligence, architect's knowledge coupled with your desire is what your house is. Same way, the entire creation is nothing but your desire coupled with his intelligence, his knowledge. You don't have that intelligence or knowledge to create the world. At best, what you can do is you can only desire. So as you desire, it creates. Same way, as you desire to pull down the building, then the structural engineer will come and say, from where we have to start. All the skyscrapers, they pull down. You need an engineer to come and do it. You can't do it. So they come and fix, dynamites in different places. Strategically, they keep those things. When they blast it, about 45 floors, like pack of cards just falls. Exactly. It doesn't lean this side, doesn't lean that side. Beautiful to see that. What, calculation, what amount of brilliance is needed for, to do something like that. Because if it falls onto the next building, what will happen? Such a big risk that is. But then they do this. So even for destruction, you need that intelligence. So God comes in and he just comes and performs his things with his intelligence. So the entire creation or destruction is not according to the whims and fancies of God. It is as per your demand. What you demand is what is known as karma. That's called your karma. You desired it. So you give this, and then he says, all these people are slain by me. It's not that God is going to be standing there and say, okay, Krishna has killed all those people. It's not Krishna killing them. Then what is killing them? Their own karma. Now Krishna only standing as a representative, personifies himself, representing that law of karma, their own adharma. So Krishna stands as personification of dharma in the form of that Kala Tattva. Therefore, he says, Arjuna, you don't get involved in all these things. What you do, you just do your duty. As what? What is your duty? Your duty is to become instrument in my hands. That is your duty. Now, we all have very weird idea of duty. I have a duty to my family. No. That's not a duty. That's your desire. No, but that doesn't become your duty. That is your attachment. Full stop. There is nothing more than that. I have a duty to my business. No. That's your attachment. Your samsara, that is. My child. That doesn't mean immediately, you discard all of them, throw them out. Take all the, parents are thrown out of the house and kids are thrown out of the house and, all families are, I'm not talking about that. Then on what basis you decide what is your duty, he says. See, that is the good question here. He says, Nimitra matram bhava. He says, just be an instrument. Nimitta matram. Nimitta means instrument. Matram is mere. You just be an instrument. Now, we saw that in the last class. Are you karta or are you karanam? Are you a doer or are you an instrument? If you are a doer, then the consequences also yours. This is where our problem is. We will perform actions. We will take a stand as I am the doer, but then the consequences should not touch me. After taking a stand that I am the doer, then we say, I'm going to follow Bhagavad Gita. What Krishna says in the Gita, don't worry about the result. I'm going to practice. Not possible. You cannot practice that. You cannot do that because you have already taken a position that I am the doer. So once you have taken the position as I am the doer, then the onus is on you. You should have the willingness to go through the consequences as well. If you take a stand that I am not going to go through the consequences, I am not willing to go through the consequences, I don't want the fruit of action coming and affecting me. I don't want to get into this punya, papa, all this pain, sukha, dukkha. I'm not interested in all that. Then alone you can take a stand as I am the instrument. So when we say you have a choice in life, what is a choice being given to you? The fundamental choice that we have is this. Am I to function as karta or am I to function as karanam? That choice is there. Make that choice first. Then we take a stand. Okay, if I am going to be becoming a karana, then who is the karta? Whose instrument I am going to become? It's like ambassador of a state. They don't have their own will. They don't have their own, opinions. They will not voice their opinions. Their personal opinions, their personal will and all will not be bothered at all. Whatever they speak is the stand of the country. They may have any individual opinions. They may even not agree with the decisions of the state. But then, as an ambassador, he is representing that state. Since he is representing the state, he will not have his own opinion. Same way, you have to take a stand as to, now are you going to function as this ambassador or or are you going to function as a person who would like to have your independent will? If you function as a person who has an independent will, then nothing wrong in that. I'm not saying you should not have or anything. Krishna is not saying you should not have that. If you take that stand, then consequences also you have to meet. You cannot take a stand where consequences will not be met. So he says, nimitta matram. Because most of the time, our performance of duty, the motivation to perform your duty itself is coming from the result only. If the child is not getting good marks, the mother will no longer be motivated to wake up in the night and make coffee and give. Isn't it? Imagine the child is sitting, in the night. He is waking up, he wakes up at 12:30 to watch a football match. The mother will not say, "Oh, beta, you're waking up at 12:30, no, I will make coffee for you, I'll make tea for you and give." He will not do that. So, the so-called, your claim that I am doing my duty, think carefully. You claim to be doing your duties. If you claim to be doing your duties, find out what is a motivating factor. What is motivating you? My actions is directed towards someone. My effort is directed towards somebody's welfare, and they should be getting that welfare. They should be getting that benefit. They should succeed. If they don't succeed, if this is intended benefit is not coming out of that, if they are not reciprocating with that, if they are not producing that, what will you do? Every company, there is a new theory now, customer first. Now they are saying no, employee first. Management. Because if you take care of your employees will take care of the customers. You don't have to worry about the customers. So who you should take care first? They say first you take care of your employees. What do you do with your employees? My direction towards that employees will happen only if the employee is responding, reciprocating the way it should be happening to me. Like I gave the example of a child. If the child is not getting up in the night to study, if the child is getting up to watch a football match, the mother will not wake up in the night and make tea. She will not do that. My question is why? I'm not saying you should get up and make and give and all that. That's not my point. Okay? There is no motivation in you. Imagine if that fellow comes and tells you, "Can you make tea for me?" You are fast asleep. 12:30, he wakes you up and says, "No, the match will go for 2 hours. So, can you just make the tea?" What would be your reaction? Vis-a-vis, the person says, "Tomorrow I have exam. Now I have to study. I've been studying. I've been, feeling tired. So can you make tea?" The enthusiasm with which you will make tea in the second case, vis-a-vis the enthusiasm that you will have to make tea in the first case. That's how we identify. My performance of duty should not be dependent on whether the people are getting the benefit or not. When that can happen? Only when you have this shift in your attitude that I am just an instrument. So Krishna says in 33, says verse 33, he gives a direct instruction to Arjuna that nimitta matram bhava, just be an instrument. That is enough. This is what the advice given by Krishna. 33. Continuing, 34.
द्रोणं च भीष्मं च जयद्रथं च कर्णं तथान्यानपि योधवीरान् मया हतास्त्वं जहिमा व्यथिष्ठाः युध्यस्व जेतासि रणे सपत्नान् द्रोणं च भीष्मं च जयद्रथं च कर्णं तथान्यानपि योधवीरान् मया हतास्त्वं जहिमा व्यथिष्ठाः युध्यस्व जेतासि रणे सपत्नान्.
He says, Drona and Bhishma and Jayadratha and Karna, as also other heroic warriors, already slain by me. You kill. Be not distressed. Fight. You shall conquer the enemies in battle. Now Krishna is coming to specifications. The last verse he generally said, all these people are slain. Now he comes to specific. He says Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, all those people, I have already slain them. Why? Because Arjuna has that fear. Maybe. There is no direct evidence we have. It's just we infer, that's about it. There is a possibility. Because Bhishma, all of us know, Bhishma has got the boon that unless he desires to die, he will not die. Right? So, how to kill such a person? If a person says, okay, how will you kill him? Unless he desires. Drona is the one who taught him archery. Always a student will believe what? The teacher has something more to teach than all that he has taught, isn't it? This is the attitude of a student. If the student says, I have learnt everything from my teacher, then he is not a student at all actually. The student always feels there is more to be learnt from the teacher. So, Arjuna genuinely will be feeling what internally? Hey, Drona is my teacher. I don't know whether he has taught everything to me. Maybe he has something more. If he uses those techniques, if he uses that, how can I fight him? How can I conquer him? Jayadratha has a special boon that anyone who drops that fellow's head, his head will go to pieces, 100 pieces. Anyone who kills Jayadratha, essentially what it means is, anyone who kills Jayadratha, parallelly, the fellow who kills him, his head will go to 100 pieces, will burst. He will also die. Now, how to kill that fellow? Right? And Karna, another fellow. Now, each one of them have got their own unique strengths. Right? Now, there is always that fear, in the beginning, before the match starts. There's always that fear, Like these batsmen and all, they say, it takes time for them to get the feet moving, It will not happen immediately. Like football match also, you see, most goals have been, put only in the last 2 minutes of the game. Not in the beginning, in the end only. Now, the whole dynamics are different. You see, same way, when he is starting the battle, I don't want to give this as an example, but then it looks like that actually. You see, Russia, Ukraine. Don't start politics here, okay? Immediately. This is the problem with you people. When the war started, before the war started, the belief everyone had was what? It will go for 10 days or 15 days. It's almost 6 months now. Maybe more. Where are we now? Still is going on. See, same way, so these two armies have assembled. Now, imagine the battle goes on and on and on. What will be the case? So he has that, Now, always remember, when you are beginning any action, at the starting point, always we have the fear of how it's going to be in future. That's why suddenly you will find lot of this, astrologers coming now. And even those who don't believe in astrology, before marriage they take their horoscope. Why? Though they are, very rational people, they don't believe in all these things. But then every one of them, take to their office, do things. They wanted to start in an auspicious. Why? They wanted to know how the 2023 is going to be. How Shani Bhagavan is going to work now. Because there is going to be a shift. So if he is going to shift, what that shift is going to be implying? So much of thinking. Why? When do you go to an astrologer? The moment you start thinking about the future, which is unknown to you, someone who claims that they can tell the future now. So every one of us would like to know what is going to happen. See, this is where the problem comes. So he tells Arjuna, says, these heroic warriors are already slain by me. They are all killed already by me. I have killed them. Now what are you supposed to do? What you do? You kill. If they are already slain, what is there for him to do now? He says, no, you kill them. It's just that the stand he is taking says, look here, the result is very clear. He has declared the cup. Who is going to win the cup is already told. France or Germany. Like these people used to have, an octopus and all, they'll have. It will go and touch that particular one. They think, okay, now that is decided by it, so they are going to win the cup. Imagine we decide now itself. I say, anyway, you're going to win. So what are you supposed to do? Anyway, Argentina going to win. I'm just giving example, okay? Don't start. Anyway, Argentina going to win the match. Therefore, what Messi does? I'm going to a party. I'm not coming to the game. It will not happen. The result is decided. But then, you have to work. You have to put in your effort. Now your effort is what? You kill. Be not distressed. Fight, man. Fight. You shall conquer the enemies in battle. He gives him that confidence. Krishna gives that confidence to Arjuna to fight the battle. Because there is somewhere in the corner that uncertainty is there. So Krishna tells him, there is nothing to be uncertain about, just do it. So herein where we analyze, these are the places where we pick up few clues and extract certain principles of life. If Krishna has already slain, why he is asking Arjuna to kill? Why he is saying, you fight. Don't be distressed. You fight, he says. Why? What is the implication there? Now, Arjuna is concerned about what is going to be the consequence. Who is going to win the battle? Now, the message that Krishna is giving here is, Arjuna, your concept of success, failure is a very wrong idea. When he says to Arjuna, he is telling that to all of us. For every one of us, everyone in the world, right? Think carefully. Is success, failure in the consequence or in the performance of action? You study well, is that enough? Or unless you get good marks, you feel success? Where you feel success, don't start theory here. Don't start imitating. Nowadays the problem with most of us is we start imitating, we start, following words. Big words, we have learnt. No, don't be, result oriented. Be process oriented. Someone says something, you have no idea what's the meaning of that. Process orientation means what? All the time you have to be practicing. Then why do you have to go and play the game? Why do you have to participate in the game? Don't participate in the game. Keep going to the matches only. No. Music class is important or music kacheri is important? Huh? Music practice is important or kacheri, performance is important? To a musician, if practice is the most important thing, then why do you go and perform only? Stop it, no. Isn't it? If learning is enough into itself, no. We say, sir, the learnings that you have, the practices that you have, all these learnings, everything, unless it gets converted into performance and that performance producing a result, you will not feel complete. You will never feel successful. Dhoni, after getting all this tournament winning and World Cup and all that, if he says process orientation, we will listen to. Correct? Imagine Dhoni is a failure. Right? The last over, he asked this fellow to bowl and that fellow, messed it up. Like that one over destroyed the career, we say. One ball that destroyed the career. Sharjah Cup. Last ball. 4 runs to win. The fellow bowls and Jack Meander hits a 6. And they win the match. After that, the bowler was not there at all. His entire career gone. Imagine India would have lost that tournament. What would be our reaction then? See, our reactions is all based on the result. If the result is successful, we'll say, wow, he out of the box thinking. If the result were to be a failure, what would be our reaction? At 94. The batsman is batting 94. He comes down the pitch, he hits for a 6 and gets a century. What would be the commentator's reply for that? Vis-a-vis 94, batsman comes down the pitch, he goes for a lofted shot, he gets caught in the boundary. What will be the reaction of those commentators now? If he hits a 6, they say what? He plays his natural game, doesn't make any difference. Right? Situations doesn't matter to him at all. He just plays his game, that's it. If he hits a 6 and gets a century, if he goes for a 6 and gets out, say what? Irresponsible fellow. 94, he is a well settled batsman. A new batsman coming in is not easy to bat in this pitch. How can you play such an irresponsible innings? If he gets out, all our lifetime, we understand success or failure only with reference to the consequences of action. Never we understand success is in the performance of action. And that's what Krishna is giving here. Says they are already slain. You kill. Be not distressed. Fight. What is he trying to say here? What is the message? The message is this. He is speaking the language of Arjuna. Now he says, you fight. Immediately, you also don't start. Krishna only said in the Bhagavad Gita, fight. You kill. I am following Bhagavad Gita. He is speaking to Arjuna, therefore he is speaking that language. They are standing in the battlefield, remember. So there he says, identifying with this, already slain by me. I have already told you this. By me in the sense not that Krishna decided to kill them. Krishna is personifying himself, identifying with this unrelenting law of karma. He says the law of karma functions, full stop. Whatever actions that you do, you face the consequences of those actions. You can't escape from that. This is the law. Now, there is a slight shift in the text. Now, suddenly, we find Sanjaya coming in between now. Krishna spoke for 3 verses. 32, 33, 34. And now, in 35, we find Sanjaya coming in between. Right. Now, why Sanjaya comes and what he says, we will see now. Wherever we find Sanjaya coming suddenly in between, I suppose you all remember the backdrop. The backdrop is actually this Bhagavad Gita appears in Bhishma Parva. All these discussions and all were happening in the palace, Hastinapura palace. After the fall of Bhishma, Sanjaya goes and reports. Bhishma has fallen. Then Dhritarashtra asks, hey, look here, don't just tell me this, give me the complete detail. I want to know every detail of what happened in the battlefield. Then Sanjaya starts his narration. In that narration only Bhagavad Gita comes. Right. So, actually speaking, in the text, if you see Mahabharata, when Sanjaya is speaking all these things, Bhishma has already fallen. 10th day, Bhishma has fallen already. And Sanjaya is going to Hastinapur to report that to. He comes 2-3 times actually to the battlefield, Sanjaya, during the 18 days. It's not that he is permanently sitting in that palace. He keeps coming to the battlefield and he is going back also. So all that, up and down he goes. But then he says Sanjaya gives this idea. He says Sanjaya said, Sanjaya Vacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha Etachhrutva Vachanam Keshavasya Kritanjalirvepamana Kiriti Namaskritva Bhuya Evaha Krishnam Sagadgadam Bhita Bhita Pranamya Sanjaya Uvacha Etachhrutva Vachanam Keshavasya Kritanjalirvepamana Kiriti Namaskritva Bhuya Evaha Krishnam Sagadgadam Bhita Bhita Pranamya.
Having heard that speech of Keshava, the crowned one trembling, saluting with joined palms, bowing, overwhelmed with fear, spoke again to Krishna in a choked voice. Now, Sanjaya is coming in between to describe the state of Arjuna. What is this? Arjuna's condition. Now, from 35 to 45. The thing is the surrender of Arjuna. I've already told you this. This Vishwarupa Darshan triggers fear in Arjuna. That fear gets transformed into surrender, bhakti, devotion. So the surrender of Arjuna, how he surrenders and what he says and what he does, is what that's the description from 35 to 45. Now this 35, Sanjaya says. From 36, Arjuna will start again. Arjuna will speak again. Now 35 says, having heard that speech of Keshava, the crowned one, Kiriti. Those days they had a cap, Nowadays we use a cap. In those days they had, the Krida, that Kiriti. Kiriti means he is referring to Arjuna. That's the meaning. Understood as, Kiriti. And there is a very subtle message he is giving to Dhritarashtra. The moment we think of Grida, the crown, straight away comes to idea is what? They become victorious. So, understood is what? Dhritarashtra, you are going to lose your crown. Arjuna is going to take it. This is the condition here. It says, having heard that speech of Keshava, the crowned one, trembling. Now he is trembling here. Saluting with joined palms. Now what you need to remember is how Arjuna started. And now how Arjuna is standing here. He started to give instructions to Krishna in the first chapter. The first chapter of the Gita, if you see, Senayor Bhayor Madhye Ratam Sthapaya says, you go and place. It's a direct instruction given. And obviously what is understood is Arjuna was treating Krishna as a driver. Hey, place it there. Right? Now, trembling, saluting with joint palms. He spoke those words, he says. The trembling there. Yes. Kritanjali. Kritanjali is joint palms, is an expression of surrender. Now we do some little analysis of surrender. Don't worry, we will do a detailed study in the next chapter. When we go there, we will do a detailed study, more. Okay. Now, very little one we do, very basic one. How is it that we start developing this affinity and affection, love and all that with someone? How does it happen? There are two strangers, they meet each other. Somewhere they meet. Whether they meet in a college or they meet in this one or they get married or they are neighbors. Huh? They just meet each other. They say, hi, hi. How are you? How are you? Where are you from? Where are you from? I am from this, you are from this. What is your name? What is your name? And then what is your father's name? What is your mother's name? You have any, siblings you have? Yes, no. This. And then slowly this interaction starts happening. Frequency of talking. Every transaction, every interaction that you are having with the other person, you go on exploring and understanding the other. More and more and more you get to know about the other person. More you get to know about the other person, more there is a possibility for you to feel that affection, affinity, love, all that. Same rule is what is applied to God also. Now, Arjuna has been associating from the first chapter to the 11th chapter. 10 chapters have passed. And so much of material, so much he had seen in Krishna for the first time. This dimension of Krishna he never knew all these years. Right? All these years he had no clue about all that. Now suddenly he saw so much of wisdom and so much in Krishna. When he got to know that, the law of love works. What does it say? More you know, more you will love. And then the law of attachment starts. After that, what happens? You start knowing more and more of the other person, more and more of what you get to know about the other person, whatever is there. Right? More I know about him, when you say, means you understand a lot of things about the other person. What are their preferences, what they don't prefer, what they like, what they don't like, what is their strength, what is their weakness, what is that they're scared of, what is it they're afraid of, what they like, what they don't like. So many things about the other person you get to know. So many qualities in them, so many attitudes of theirs, so many ways in which they transact, so many ways in which they deal with others. What is their general outlook about life? So much you will get to know about the other person. Tragically, what happens with the worldly relationship is, more you get to know the other person, initially you start seeing their strength. Over a period of time, you start seeing their weaknesses. Right? This is what we never allow to be seen. We never allow the other person to see that, what we call as that honeymoon period. In any relationship, we have that honeymoon period. The honeymoon period is what? The other person will never get the person to know what is their negative, what is their weakness? The ugly side of theirs, their weaknesses, their inhibitions, their fears. All that will not be known. We cover it up. How long you can cover? Somewhere down the line, the other party will penetrate and start seeing that. More they associate, more it will become normalcy. For them to see, no, how long you can put up an act? You cannot do that. So after a point, when you cannot put up that act, your other side gets revealed. I'm sorry, you can't say it's real, right? That's not the right way of saying it, but then the weakness of yours gets exposed. Now, all these days you have been projecting only your divine nature, hiding the demonic nature. Right? You have been presenting yourself to be a very good person, sir, but over a period of time you understand how stubborn you are. Now, initially, I thought the person is so clear in what he is doing. Now I understand, sir, it is not clarity, it is stubbornness, that's all. I thought he was consistent. It's not consistency, stubborn, pig-headed. That point, what happens to that relationship? That's why we have a saying in English, familiarity breeds contempt. Once you become familiar with somebody, it breeds contempt. Why? Because all of us have these two aspects in us. Whereas in Bhagavan, in God, there is no demonic quality at all. Even his destructive stand is also very divine. Even his destructive thing is what he is presenting, but it is so divine to see that. So when we function, more we get to know, we start loving that person, we become affectionate towards that person, we start getting ourselves attached to that person, more and more interaction. But then after a point, what happens is we start seeing the other side, which was not visible to us initially. The moment you start seeing the other side, what happens? You start developing a dvesha towards that person. The liking towards that person becomes disliking towards that person. That's all. That's what a lot of people, they say, midlife crisis, divorces. What is the divorces? Then why do you get married then? First of all. No, at that time we were in love. Now I have fallen out of love. Earlier I have fallen in love. Now I have fallen out of love. There is no more spice in our relationship. What is the spice you want? What is that? I am not saying you should not divorce. It's not my issues. Right? You get married or you get divorced is not my problem. But then we have to figure out how that whole thing happened. What do you say? Arranged marriage. Arranged marriage doesn't mean forced marriage. No? We think arranged marriage means what? Arranged marriage means all forced. So therefore what we have to do, sir? All arranged marriage stop. Okay, love marriage. After love marriage, what happens? There also there is fight, no? Arranged also there is fight. Love marriage also there is fight. Marriage means there will be fight. Therefore what to do? Get a child first. After that what will happen, sir? Instead of both of you fighting, both of you will start fighting with a child now. Instead of you two fighting, together you can fight with a child. What do you do? Why do you do that? More you know I know him very well. When do you say that? Yeah, I know about him. You don't have to tell me about that person. When do you say that? Only when you get to know their weakness, the negative side of that person. Till you get to know the negative side of that person, we never believe that we know that person well. I know him very well. Don't tell me all that. Don't say that. Why? When it comes to Krishna, Kritanjali, he gets into that devotion. Why he gets that devotion? Surrender. All fear will not become surrender. Remember that. It's not that just because you have fear of God doesn't mean it will become surrender. No. Okay, nor can you take a stand that saying that all fear to God is also wrong. No. That fear of God, God just now we saw. God represents what? God represents karma, law of karma. You better be scared of law of karma. If you are not scared of law of karma, it's not possible. It is not possible to live life peacefully. You see, if you want to live a peaceful life, fear by itself is not a negative emotion. The fear is towards what will define only. We have studied that earlier. Now, fear by itself is not a negative thing. It's not that the thing that you should never be scared. You should never have fear in life. You should know what to fear, what not to fear. What you are not supposed to be scared of, don't be scared. What you are supposed to be scared, you better be scared. If you are not scared there, you are in danger. Where you are not supposed to have fear, if you have fear, again danger. Again problem. So it's not that all fear of God will turn into surrender and bhakti. Then when fear emotion converts itself, changes the flavor and becomes bhakti. That bhaya should become bhakti when you start seeing the qualities, when you start recognizing what it is, who that is. That's where knowledge comes and helps us. That's why the scriptures come and give us the knowledge. So for bhakti, what is the what is it that gives you bhakti? What causes bhakti? Hetu we say. Which is the hetu for bhakti? Jnanam is the hetu for bhakti. When you have that jnanam should be happening in the climate of bhaya. Without any bhaya, if you gain knowledge, nothing will happen. You can give lecture, that's it. That's why a lot of people are against nowadays. Nowadays, people, belittle teaching. Lecturing means, belittling that. Talking and, teaching all this, we just belittle. Talking anybody can do, big deal. Talking anybody can do, but make them sit to listen. That's not easy, no? So, when knowledge, if knowledge were to be gained without that bhaya, only bhaya without knowledge also won't help. You will become more ritualistic in nature. Great. There are people who ask, sir, every Friday I do this one particular, lighting a lamp, they are doing. One Friday they missed. Some emergency, something, in the house. So the lady missed it. She couldn't do on that day. Immediately she called me. Sir, what is a parihara I should do for that? What will happen to me? What is this? What is this? What is this? You'll become more, mechanical, ritualistic person. If only Bhaya were to be there with God. Without Bhaya, you have only knowledge. There, you will become a dry intellectual personality. There's no juice in you, in your being. You will become such a dry fellow. A typical, philosophers they give. Examples they give is a philosophers. Typical there. Then what is the right thing to do, sir? In the climate of fear, when you gain knowledge about God, that fear will get transformed into bhakti. That's what Arjuna is proving now to us. Right? That's what we are going to see in Arjuna. Yes. You have to just do it, man. Saluting with joint palms. Bowing. Overwhelmed with fear. Spoke again to Krishna in a choked voice. I am having cold, so my voice is like this. Okay. Imagine Arjuna's voice is exactly like this, without cold. That's called choked voice. Say, words are not coming, only air is coming. It's not articulate. That's a choked voice. Is an expression of surrender. Arjuna's expression of surrender. Now, how that expression happens? Right. More, let's see in the next class.